Hello everyone, welcome to another Narc Survivor live video. As you can see, I'm just by the sea here. I think it's the East China Sea or the Philippine Sea, one of the two. So yes, in this one I'm going to talk about what happens when you stop reacting. Because as we know, all the narcissist really wants from their victim is a reaction. They want you to react to what they're saying or doing. And the reason why is because they lack a sense of self. They have a void, so they can't generate anything from within. They can't regulate their own emotions. So instead, what they need is an external regulator. Something outside of themselves. And that is what we call their narcissistic supply, where they try to gain your attention, admiration, and validation. They just try to get you to notice them, to see them, to hear them, so that you pay attention to them. But what happens when you take your attention and focus away from them? And maybe you're distracted, you're preoccupied with something else, or maybe you're just focusing on yourself. What happens when you do that? I can tell you that when you stop reacting to the narcissist, it will most likely cause a narcissistic injury. And it will be followed by narcissistic rage, where they may be passive aggressive and give you the silent treatment, which is meant to serve as a punishment. Or another thing they might do is they might just completely discard you and then go and find new supply. But that's only if a good source of supply is available to them. If it's not, then they will continue to be focused on you, and they will start a smear campaign against you, where they enforce their flying monkeys to do their bidding on their behalf. And that's when these people who they have enforced as their flying monkeys, they will come around you and they will try to intimidate you, to destabilize you emotionally. And it's all just to try and get you to take your attention off yourself, so that over time you begin to destabilize. It's like you don't know who you are, and then they can point the finger at you and call you crazy, so that it validates their false reality. Because that's just how it is when a group of people stalk and harass a target. When they're doing that, they've switched into a different character at their own will, which means they already had the ability, they were already capable of doing that. And not only that, but it means that they have created a false reality, where they are then manipulating and gaslighting you. that is typically the end result when you do stop reacting to the narcissist. It's not all sunshine and rainbows, where you just move on, you forget about them, and then you live your best life. Of course, if you are a source of supply to the narcissist, they are not just going to let you move on and do that. Remember, they are very insecure and they have low self-esteem. They have a void, they can't regulate their own emotions. So they need an external regulator, which means that they need to have control. So they're not just going to let you move on. They are going to try to control you. So then they can use you as this tool to make themselves feel better. Because that's all it really is. That's all they really want. Remember, everything is energy. We all have our own energy. And they're coming around you because they want that. They want to take your energy away from you. They want it because they don't have any of their own. And yet they will come around you and call you crazy. They'll gaslight you. They will treat you with contempt. They will devalue you. You've got to think that if you're really so crazy or as bad as they're trying to make you seem, why would they come around you in the first place? People don't typically want to be around anything of low value. Because if it's of low value, it's not going to serve them. It's not going to be any good for them. And in fact, it's just going to be a liability to them. So they're not going to come around something of low value. I mean, you've just got to think for yourself and put yourself in that situation. Would you want to go around someone who could be harmful or dangerous to you? Someone who is mad or crazy? Someone who means you know well? Someone who has nothing to offer you, nothing of value, nothing of significance? Would you want to go around someone like that? Of course not. No one would. So that is how you know that the problem is that you stopped reacting to them. They could no longer get reactions out of you. And your reactions hold a lot of value, a lot of energy. It was giving them supply. It was making them feel powerful and important, attractive and desirable. It was sustaining their false character and their false reality. So when you stop reacting to them, it doesn't just go away. It's not like they just accept, okay, all of this time. Yes, I had this false character, I had this false reality, and I was manipulating you to serve my own unmet emotional needs, which I couldn't serve myself. Of course, no narcissist ever comes to that conclusion. So instead, what they do when you stop reacting to them and you try to leave, they still try to sustain the false reality and their false character. And they do that by creating a false narrative about you. And if you look back, you remember they were likely doing this a long time before you stopped reacting to them. because they saw you as something temporary. They knew that at some point it was going to end. So they had to go around and talk about people behind your back, or they may have done it in front of you as well. And this was all for them to prepare and to set up the smear campaign for when you finally do get fed up with them and you decide to leave or just stop reacting to them. This was all planned out beforehand. And it's all just to sustain the false self. Because they can't be alone, as I've said before. If you look back, even before you got involved with them, can you remember even a single day where they were completely alone and away from other people? You probably can't, because they can't be alone. If they were alone, it would resurface their shame, which constantly haunts them, and then they would go insane, or they would be suicidal. They would experience a lot of anxiety and depression. They wouldn't be able to cope. So everything they do when you stop reacting, they go into panic mode, and it's just to try to sustain the false self and the illusion. Sometimes it may look like they're trying to get you back, but it's all just their ego. They're trying to soothe their bruised ego because you've rejected them. You made it clear to them that you wanted nothing to do with them, and they prefer to be the ones who are initiating that. But because you rejected them first, it affected their self-esteem, and now they're just trying to soothe their bruised ego to feel better about themselves. And it's the same thing with the flying monkeys. Every time any of these people come around you, they instantly feel inferior, so they lash out at you. I mean, it's just the way the situation is set up as well. Because it's like all of these people are focusing just on you, on one person. Just one person on their own. And that translates to them that you must be one very important person. If it's just you, you're on your own, and all of these people are targeting you, they're after you. So it instantly makes them feel like they're not enough. And also to know that you rejected their ringleader, the narcissist, who they look up to and admire, and they carry out these tasks and functions on their behalf. So it all just reminds them that they're not enough. And it injures them. It injures their pride and ego, and then they just seek to lash out at you, to blame and accuse you so that they can feel better about themselves. So that's really it. That's what happens when you stop reacting to the narcissist. Coming out of the car again because the windows are quite dark and it's very hard to see my face. Of course, I want you all to see me. Although I know the wind is quite loud out here. I'm using my microphone, so I hope you can hear me clearly. But yeah, this is just what they do when you stop reacting. And they do it because they have a false character. They're living in a false reality because they're very weak, they're very insecure, they have a void. So they have to use you to regulate their emotions so that they can feel better about themselves. So of course, when you stop reacting, it causes a narcissistic injury. They don't like it. Because then it deflates this false sense of self-importance. Because while they had their power and control over you, and they could just take everything out on you, everything that they didn't like, all of their past failures, it made them feel a lot better about themselves. It made them feel like even though they can't control all of these external circumstances in their life, at least they can control you. So it creates this illusion, this false reality where they are omnipotent. I mean, anyone who is highly egotistical, they do have a false character and they are living in a false reality. It's only when you drop your ego and you humble yourself that you then connect to your soul, and you are being your authentic self, and you are living in the real world, which of course is something that a narcissist is never going to be able to do. They're always going to have this false character, they're always going to live in this false reality, and they're always going to be constantly trying to pull you into it because they have this crabs in the bucket mentality. Yeah, they can see that you are not operating from their fake world, and they can see that you are happy, you feel good about yourself. And it's not like that for them, because they do have a false character and they are living in a false reality. So naturally, of course, they're never going to be happy. Especially since they only come around you to attack you and to use you as their emotional regulator. It may make them feel better in the moment, but over time it just makes them feel even more miserable. Some big waves here, crashing right up behind me. It's actually really cold as well. It's about 22 degrees Celsius. I just came from Vietnam about a week ago where it was over 30 degrees. So I'm quite sensitive to the cold temperatures. I'm kind of wishing I had a jacket with me. I know I've got a few of my luggage. I'm starting to shiver a bit now. It's starting to rain. But I think that this is enough for this message today. Let me know down below if you have any questions and I will read them out and answer them. Free Spirit says narcissists force us to recognize our own false self, we can drop it and be free. What you said there is completely true. These narcissists have always had a false self from their childhood. And they will always have a false self. That's all they're ever going to have, and that is why they defend the illusion so strongly. Because there is nothing else outside of that. All they have is the false character. They will try to make you believe that there's something else. Like there's this other wonderful side to their personality, but there really isn't. Everything you saw from them, everything you got from them, that was all that there was for you to get. There was nothing else. And as you said there about us recognizing our own false self, yes, definitely, I am going to do a video on that very soon. I've already planned to do it within the next few days. How they do create multiple false characters for their victim. And it's like these certain obligations, these certain roles that they expect us to carry out for them, and it creates these different false characters for us. Because as empaths, yes, we just want to please people. We want to satisfy them. We want to make them happy. It's like we can't rest unless we know that their needs are met. And of course they play on that. And they constantly move the goalposts so that we're doing everything in our power. And we're pulling our personalities inside out in an effort to please them. And of course, as soon as we start doing that, then they point the finger at us. And then it's like, oh, you've changed, you're different now. They gaslight us, they blame us. Because as empaths, we self-loathe. We don't look at them and think, no, actually, you just trained me to be this way to make yourself feel more comfortable. Because that's really what is going on. So yes, they do induce multiple false characters in their victims. And I'm sure if you look back, many of you will have noticed that. As I said, I will be doing a video on it in much more detail within the next few days. Or hopefully by next week. And let me know down below if you have experienced that. Whether narcissist induced false characters within you. I mean, as I've said before, you can't be yourself around a narcissist. You're always going to have to create some false character to perform to what they need you to be so that they can feel comfortable. You'll always find yourself walking on eggshells around them. Anyway, as you can see, it's getting quite dark out here. I'm going to continue on my journey now, get something to eat, and find a place to stay. Of course, I will try to get on here tomorrow for another live. And we do have a premiere starting in a few hours. Hopefully I will try to join you in there in the live chat as well. to answer any of your questions on tonight's video. Thank you all for joining me today. And you can show your support down below by giving it a thumbs up. Let me know your thoughts on this video as well in the comment section. Hit the subscribe button and click the bell icon to receive notifications for my future videos. And you can donate as well by giving a super chat or a super thanks in the comments, or you can go to my PayPal. It's paypal.me/Narc Survivor. And if you need one-on-one support with me, that is available to you. You can book a one-on-one coaching session by heading to my website. It is narcsurvivor.co.uk. And I do have my Instagram as well, where you will find pictures and videos of my travels. You can follow me on there. It's Narc Survivor YouTube on Instagram. Again, thank you all for joining me, and I look forward to talking with you in another video very soon.